Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Ever Shorty, and today we're going to be reviewing Lovesick. And this one's going to have some content warning right at the front. We're going to be talking about violence, sexualized violence, consent, and terrible things happening to people. I'm going to be discussing the actual comic book first, but if any of these things are going to be issues for you, or you'd rather not get engaged with them, I totally understand this one might not be for you. I will give another warning before we get into the depth of it, just in case you actually want to get some news on the comic book itself, but the warning is out there, that's all I'm saying. So to start, we're going to talk about the artwork. It is brilliant. It is beautiful. It is simple at times, but it never shies away from the detail when it's needed to, but it's never gratuitous. It's never, when there is violence, and there is violence, it's never done for titillation or to horrify people in a gruesome way, and it's also not done for titillation, which it could really be when we get into more of what this comic book's about. It is effective, and there's also really nice colouring. Sometimes it just goes to move from one room to another. There's a green room to a red room, but there's also sequences where you get a sense of contentment and warmth and comfort, depending on the colour palette that's used, and it shifts from room to room and scene to scene. It's all very effective, and there's some great layouts and some great framing. There is one issue, though. Some of it is clearly done in such a way that it's supposed to be, imagine you're watching it on a screen, which means there's a camera recording it, and at a certain point I was like, well, hang on, where is the camera for this? And the next panel is like, no, because where is the camera for this? And I found myself getting quite into like looking at how they would be filmed if they were going to film it. I was thinking about like where we would hide cameras on the various outfits people are wearing, and it did unfortunately take me away from some of the actual action that's happening on the page. This is probably just a me thing. My girlfriend constantly comments on the fact that watching movies sometimes is more of a technical experience. I do engage with the art of it, but I enjoy the technical side, and I think at that point it did take me out a little bit. Writing wise, it has a similar thing in that it is absolutely brilliant. It is minimalist when it needs to be, but also when there is like large elements of prose going on, it never feels like it's preachy. It never feels like it's a wall of text just for exposition's sake. It all matters, it's all important, and it all adds to the world and the characters and the feel of what they're going for. But also there's footnotes, and I feel like none of the footnotes really add anything to the story, at least for me. There's nothing was in the footnotes I didn't know about. I didn't need to know that involuntary celibate was incel. I kind of think, I mean, obviously this is just my opinion, I have no idea what the creator was putting this in there for, but in my head it felt like, trust your audience enough to know that they either know these things or they're okay finding them out or having it explained to me in ways that don't need footnotes. It, again, just distracted ever so slightly by taking focus away from the actual story that we're trying to tell. Okay, that is my basic understanding or my basic review of the writing. The artwork, we're now going to get into concept and what this story was trying to do, at which point we're going to talk about violence and sex and consent. And if this is not for you, again, thank you very much for watching so far. And if you're sticking around, hello, you deviants. It's going to be brilliant. Well, no, because that's not what this is about. In fact, it's kind of looking at people who would look at it that way for titillation, look at the more gratuitous the better, and putting them under a lens a little bit. And as we already mentioned with the involuntary celibate people, the incels, yes, they're in this, and they are the bad guys of this story, unsurprisingly. Even though they're having violence done to them and being murdered and mutilated, consensually, which is important, they are the bad guys, and they should be. They are kind of terrible people. They are massively fragile narcissists, and those two parts of a personality should be open to derision and laughter and mocking, but because they are white males, a protected group by pretty much every country where this comic book is going to be read, they have a weird place in society, and they are applauded online in echo chambers, and that's what this is about. It's about what they are trying to accomplish and what they actually might be trying to say about themselves. Because the writer of this book, sorry, I really should check the name, Lovesick, basically spent a lot of time looking at gore and pornography and the idea of red rooms and following that through to incel chat rooms and the horrible things these people are saying, what they want to do and what they want to get away with. And she basically picked up on this idea that what they mainly want is attention, not affection, attention. They want to be seen, they want to be touched, and it doesn't necessarily matter in what way. And the people who are sexually pleasuring themselves over the red rooms and the green rooms are the people who consent to be part of it. This is an interesting thing about the consent, because that might be not exactly consensual. It might be coerced consent, which is a big issue when we're discussing consent. But it is also almost certainly going to be willing. Like, these people are so far devoid of what they understand affection to be that maybe this is the only option they have, and they see it as actually a way of them having control and having power. Some of them seem to think that by going on it they can actually disrupt it and want to take it down, but in the grand scheme, sorry about that, they are still terrible people, and you kind of don't have any sympathy for them when they're going through terrible things. But that isn't all the comic book's about. There is some mystery to it. There is more of the world behind the story, and more to the characters. Why is Domino so sad? Who is the gimp that you see throughout but never actually on screen? There are things that make you want to come back and carry on reading this comic book, but they are not because it's gratuitous violence. They are not because it is comedic in any way, shape, or form. The reasons why I kind of enjoyed Red Room but didn't really stay with it are the reasons why this is better, and it makes me want to carry on reading it. And yes, I don't like the idea of comparing one comic book to another, but doing the concept of Red Rooms and there's a comic book called Red Room, it was probably going to happen at some point. Depending on what you want out of comic books, one of them is going to be for you. For me, it's this one, and I heartily recommend it. That's it for me today, I think. There's a couple more things I want to review. I might do one extra today, I might do one extra tomorrow, who knows. If you don't want to miss anything out, though, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll speak to you later. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!